Okay, it is 10:45. Welcome, thank you for attending. Last year I introduced myself, Nancy Evans, as the interim chair of the church financial team. This is the second year. I'm not calling myself interim anymore. I'm not permanent. I have now enlisted the entire team to share responsibility. No one's in charge. Along with me, Darlene McNally is helping with the finances. Harry Connor is not here today. Peter Nordell is our council liaison. This is his last year on council, however. Deb Etros, the church financial manager. We'll probably be sending lots of questions her way. And our former chair, Jim Stoley, is here, and he is still actively helping, but not attending the meetings. The purpose of our meeting today predominantly is to answer any questions concerning the proposed budget for next year. Discussion happens here. Next week, we officially vote on it, but discussion happens here. We can't jump right to the budget, however, without examining what has gone on over the past year. So we will also be looking at the other pages in the booklet. Okay, first off, good job, congregation. We manage, and I know Immanuel Forward is not necessarily a part of the meeting, our focus today, but we managed to pay down in half a year's time $30,259 off the mortgage, off the principal. Just out of our pockets. This is not what the church contributed from other funds. Deb's shaking her head no. If you look at the money pre-purchase, yes, the money pre-purchase. And I have an information sheet if anyone wants it later where I see we are standing right now. Maybe we'll get to this later in the meeting. In addition to that, the church financial year was $18,000 in the black. Okay? Amazing. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, members of the congregation. So, you understand as we form a budget, we first try to anticipate what will the expenses be for 2026 in all categories of spending at church. We base that on how the spending was the previous year, and we look at are there areas where we need to increase or decrease spending. And then we have to make the income guesstimate equal that so that we're going into the year with a budget that shows we should end up even. In a good year like this, I say good year carefully, in a good year like this past, we end up in the black. Some years we're off on either the income coming in or the expenses going out, and we end up in the red, and then we have to eat into our reserves. Okay, so that's all understood. This past year, we were off on both income and expenses. We did our best, but we did not anticipate that income would be $51,000 down. This past year, 25, the year that just concluded.
Compared to the year before?
Yes.
$51,000 compared to the year before, so that would have been 24.
Yes, yes. Now, is that because fewer people are contributing? I'm not sure. Or is it because interest rates on some of our investments is down? It's still good. It's still helping us more than when we didn't have investments. It's some of that too. Is it because we picked up some additional expenses? No, that wouldn't affect income. That wouldn't affect. So expenses were also down, which helped us balance it out. By $69,000 over the previous year. I'm glad you point that out. A lot of that was staffing again. I sure thought we were at bare bones staffing last year, but we lost some additional positions. We dropped the family ministry position. We dropped, well, handbells is now done on a volunteer basis. The tech coordinator is now done on a volunteer basis, so we certainly thank Nancy Heise and Jack Schubert. Maintenance, I believe, is being done on a volunteer basis. Deb says yes. Sunday school and youth is much reduced. Nancy Heise is, again, helping very much there. So that was a lot. I mean, bare bones last year. Bare bones. We are bare bones going into 2026. We can't lose more people. And the people that are still here are picking up that much more. In spite of some tougher times because giving is down, you might think, well, we got to hold wages. Well, no, we have to recognize people are working extra, and so wages did go up a bit again this year. Not extraordinary, and in fact, the amount they went up, it would still be less on wages spent this year than it was last year. There is a new position being proposed. Is Shar here? Shar, where are you? There you are. For a music coordinator, are we still actively looking? Yes. Yeah, music is a huge part of our tradition of service. And so we're looking for a music coordinator, and that person might get $20,000 to $24,000 based on what they've written as a job description, if we can fill it. So that would be a new expense, but still the wages are what we think will be within the budget okay. All right, let's see. Let's look at last year's budget, and we'll see if you had questions. We're going to go to page 1 and look at the assets. Overall, we have cash assets and monetary assets, and we have property type assets. Some things were shuffled around. Some parts of this went up and went down. We, of course, drew from some of our assets in the Major Capital Improvement Fund and in the Fidelity Investment Memorial Fund. We closed some assets that were not being used, hadn't been used in years and years, were undesignated. So we closed Cetera's stock portfolio and we closed Thrivent account. Those all helped us to buy down the mortgage before it was open, buy down the price. What went up is we have a new asset, a big asset. We have $185,000 in property that we didn't have before. So that's good, and that brings our assets actually up for the year by $152,000. That's the middle of the page 1, total assets, $152,000. Do you have questions about assets? Okay. Yes. I have to pass you the mic. We're being streamed.
Yeah, I thought the name of the new building was Immanuel East.
That's the name of the house.
Okay.
Yes.
The name of the house is Immanuel East, but the project is still Immanuel Forward. That's what the mortgage is under, the checking account and everything else, so, but, yeah.
To address the offerings, the giving, go to page 3, please. Line 4,000, the second time it appears, shows that we gave $372,000 in 2025, not an insignificant amount. Compare it to what was given in 2024, and it is down. Down to the lines 4150 through 4152. those are our investments. We started, what, 2 years ago? The CDs in Fidelity, which have been earning a nice interest. Now, if you have CDs anywhere, you know interest has gone down a bit. But it's still good. It's still a whole lot better than having that money in the local savings account, and that money is still accessible to us if we need it. So that's good. Okay, then, let's see. I wasn't going to point out too many other things within last year's budget report here. Did you have questions as you looked through it? I recommended people jot things down in the margins. Did you jot anything down, or do you have questions or comments about other things in last year's budget? Yes, hang on. So you're saying pages 1 through 2, or are you saying pages 3 through? All the way through to page 8? Is not reflective of the budget. Okay. Yeah, we've talked about this other years. Do you want it? Did you want to do anything more? Okay. Did you understand that? Pages 3 through 8, which I'm referring to as the budget from past year, includes more than our standard operating budget. It also includes, like, there's a savings account for Malawi showing up there that doesn't have impact our spending here at church, and other things like that. So as you look through that, just consider that for certain lines.
My name is John, and I'm sorry I may have walked in a little late to the meeting, but when you talk about offering being down, is that something that we have a game plan for next budget? Because it does seem to be a trend. I mean, we're $38,000 down now, and what made that offset?
I don't know why it's down. I'm theorizing it's down because perhaps our membership is down. It's hard to get a handle on that. These are things we heard might happen during transition. Does anyone else have a feel for why giving might be down?
Do we have any ideas, Nancy, as to what the current membership is compared to 24?
I'm not the one to answer that.
I think you have to consider that people are struggling to keep up with the cost of things. You know, so maybe they're giving a little less because of that.
Cost of living. We asked for contributions for the mortgage. We said, please don't give there unless you can. First and foremost, we have to keep the operating monies up. If you can give towards the mortgage and afford to do that, wonderful. And ultimately, it helps the church if we're not paying in a lot of interest. But first and foremost comes the operating expenses.
It would be interesting to know what our membership is compared to last year, because our people, the ones here, are they contributing more to keep us up? That's good to be a little stressed too, but like you say, like I said, for the food shelf too, this is a giving church, but our fewer people carrying a heavier load. So it would be nice to know what our membership is.
You'd have to know it anyhow for next week's meeting in order to have a quorum.
Yeah.
Do you
want to address anything about membership?
No, we'll get it, best handle it as we can before next weekend, yes.
Yeah, in fact, we have to know by next weekend because we need to know what our quorum is for the meeting.
And you made a statement of $65,000 to even out the budget. Where did that come from again?
65,000 to even out the budget. Say now? Oh, expenses to income?
Okay,
To
now,
wait.
do you expect that trend to be low for next year, or is it gonna kind of raise back up again? Is that pastors' finances, and was that things that are down right now?
No, the pastor line stays even between both years.
Nancy,
Mm-hmm.
he wasn't here when you explained that we're gonna have, that we don't have as much for, employment for staff, but we are adding a music coordinator.
Yeah, we lost a number of positions, so we're saving some money on wages.
But again, it's, you know, if the church stays where it's at, or evens back out to where we were last in 2024, we're gonna need to fill some of those positions again.
Right now, they're being filled by volunteers, and we are very, very grateful.
Nancy, you have to pass the mic around, otherwise the live stream won't be able to hear the conversation.
Okay, does somebody want to, well, I need it mostly here. We should have a couple mics. People at home, bear with us.
Can I ask this? I don't know if this is a proper question or not, but we don't have Pastor Paul's salary this year. It would be interesting to compare what we are paying Pastor Ian, because we're not paying all, we're paying, but not all the benefits, all the benefits and everything, home equity, everything. That's,
What they did is they took that total package, pass the money,
oh,
put it into the salary.
oh, okay, thank you.
What they did is they took the total package they gave Pastor Paul and put it into a salary package. So we don't, it's not going out the same way it did for Pastor Paul, but the total amount is still the same.
And unlike the other wages, it did not go up for 2026. It's holding even. Everything I've looked at for transitions from, there's lots of guides out there that you can read through. Here's what the steps a church should go through. It doesn't even matter what denomination is, they almost all say the same thing. When you have an interim pastor in, they get the same package that your previous pastor did. You're going to renegotiate at the time a new permanent pastor comes in. But right now it just holds steady. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. Okay. If there are no other comments on last year's budget, I'm looking at pages 9 and 10, the benevolences. It remains at a bottom line of $10,000 that the church gives out from the operating budget. Again, realize lots of other groups in church are doing other forms of benevolence. Our church is a giving church. There are some changes between 9 and 10. The council determines these. Be prepared next week if you're questioning any to bring that up. But that doesn't impact our overall budget. Between 9 and 10. Page 11 is our special savings account. These are accounts that roll over from year to year, unlike the rest of the budget, which starts fresh each year. Some of these are tied to different groups that do some fundraising. Others are, we've just determined there's a line in the budget that at the end of the year, it's going to roll into savings, so it's still there the next year. Any questions on those? Page 12, Major Capital Improvement Maintenance Fund. And Immanuel Forward.
Back when the Major Capital Improvement Fund was formed, we talked about what would happen if we had to like roof this church without insurance. The cost of things like this. And the main thing was to keep the capital improvement fund up around 50,000 or more. And I think it's very important that we do that again. I know we've had some downs and stuff like this, but we used to have a minor capital improvement fund too, which I think somewhere along the road got rolled into the major. We maybe have to bring this up at the next meeting, but I think we got to take a look at, as a congregation, the council, is get that major capital improvement fund up there higher in case. This church is getting old. We redid it in, 2006, 2007. It's getting old. So we got flat roof. I don't know if I should be bringing it up now, but I think we got to get that account back up where it belongs, where it should be. Thank you.
You were not pointing out fidelity, correct? Is that what you're going to say? Yeah. Okay, hang on, Jim.
Along the lines, the Finance Committee, when I was more actively involved, I don't think this thing is working at all, is it? Can you hear? It is? Oh, okay. Okay. So our Finance Committee, I shouldn't say our finance, well, I'm still kind of a silent partner in the thing. We have determined as somehow along the line, $100,000 was kind of the amount that we would want to try and maintain in the major capital improvement fund. So we went from the 50, Bob, up to the 100,000 for the reasons you're saying. If you ever had to redo the roof on this building, it'd cost us close to that. And so for our planning purposes on the committees that I've been involved with here under the finance area, we've kind of tried to say 100,000 needs to be available in the major capital improvement fund. And right now, between the two, what's here at church and what is in the major capital improvement fund at Fidelity, we're over the 100,000+.
It is under the assets.
Yeah. On the first page in the balance sheet, you'll notice the major capital improvement fund right now has what was it?
1165.
Okay.
Has 103,000.
Yeah.
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 So what
Yeah.
you were seeing on the other sheet is the local money for major capital.
Yeah. Sorry.
I just saw that there was $58,000 in withdrawals out of that.
That was my question, John. If someone could address, please, what was the withdrawal of $58,784.82? What was that for?
Deb?
Most of that was for down payment on the
Most of that 58,000, you've got 10,000 of it went to the down payment for the house. We've had some different projects that have been worked on throughout the year. Without having my computer right in front of me, I cannot tell you specifics. But if you want specifics, I can make sure I have them, before next Sunday's meeting. Yep, we also have down payment for the audio upgrade. So there's been a few things that we've done, we've painting, things like that have gone on throughout this last year. Yeah, who we paid.
I think I had a question along that same line last year, and there was a bunch of, Char answered it really nice, that where that money went. But all of a sudden, it shows $50,000 gone. And we failed to find out during our meeting here. Is there some way we can identify what that is written on a monthly basis, weekly basis, so we know? Say if the next month they draw out $50,000, we just don't see $50,000 gone. I'd like to see a list of where that money goes. I mean, I think we're doing a wonderful job. I'm not that, but it's a good question by John, and I'm sorry, Mrs. McAnally. It's a good question. We need.
Isn't a report that I give to council every month?
Okay, well then yeah.
And you guys I'm here all the time, and call me, come stop in and see me too. I mean, I don't have a problem answering anybody's questions anytime.
Thank you, Deb. I know you do a good job.
Let Debbie have the mic for that.
Catch.
That's a good question. It's a good answer.
Repeat your answer.
Repeat the answer.
I know. Like I was saying, it's in a report that I give to council every month. And like I said, I'm here Monday through Thursday. Come and see me. Send me an email. I don't have a problem telling anybody any of that stuff. I just don't know how detailed you want that newsletter report, I mean, I get it, but, yeah. So I'm here all the time. Anytime you have that question, please reach out to me, please.
You all have to remember, this church now is taking care of 4 properties.
Yeah.
It isn't just the church, it's now that property, the property on the lake, and it's the little property over here.
Right, right.
And it's expense from all of them.
I guess when I was on the council, people would want to know things, but they would not ask. They were always asking on the side. And so this, for me, I know I can go to Deb. She's very good. And I went to Shar and she answered. But some people will not get up and ask those questions. And they'll talk at the coffee clutch, let's call it. So I don't know how you can do it, but I hear what you're saying, George. We got 4 properties.
Well, there's just a lot going on now.
Yeah.
Especially by adding that
Thank
other
you.
house. So,
Thank you, Nancy. You're doing a good job.
when you're looking at the numbers, I think the numbers look great.
They do.
I'm not concerned whatsoever. I'm just saying is
One per
if there's a
couple.
lot going on and, to ask Deb for, a complete expense report, it's a lot because there's just so much going on. From snow plowing to fixing the sewer system to, paying,
This one down to
paying whatever needs to be paid on the property. You know what I mean? There's just a lot going on, so just remember that when you're looking at these reports.
Talking about all of a sudden certain things. The incidental ones that always want to know. It's just, I look at it, it was $50,000.
Oh. You guys have a conversation going.
In the beginning of 2025, council agreed to let us take $30,000 from the Unity Bank and add it to what we had in Fidelity too. So that's part of your $58,000 right there too. But like I said, for all the specifics, come and see me. Send me an email. I don't have a problem letting you know because it's in every report I do every month to council. So, how maybe I do a quarterly report for the congregation or something. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what that looks like in the future, but I am always here.
Thank you. You're doing a good job.
I'm not a finance person, but from what I know, this 58, I can just sort of go, we took 30,000, put it into a CD as an investment, took 10,000, if I'm correct, Jim, and put it as a down payment on the house. So that right now you're at 40,000. We had like $3,000 to paint the parsonage. We had $10,000 we needed to upgrade the sound system. So now you're really close to that 58. I think this is where 53. So I mean, this is kind of that's the answer I've got. We've got probably another $3,000 that we authorized to fix up do some of the things on the house. So there's a new toilet, minor things. Windows that cost like $600, so really minor things. So I think that takes care of your 58,000.
I'm the guy who writes the minutes, and I try to put that stuff in the minutes after every meeting or during the meeting. Now, if I forget something, please bring it to my attention, but I try to put that in the minutes. If you read the minutes and you discover a discrepancy between what I say and the money being gone, bring that up at that time. But the minutes are the official documents.
Oh. What you have in your hand was put together by a professional accountant. That's a lie. You can tell by the hearts. I was having trouble putting my head around where has money gone, especially in regards to Immanuel Forward. I was having trouble even thinking about trying to update my big thermometer down back there. I needed a picture, this just works for me, it may not work for you, of exactly how the money is going out and coming in every month towards Immanuel Forward, and how are we paying down the principal. The figures aren't totally correct yet. I just thought about doing this like 3 days ago, and I haven't compared with Deb. And in fact, on the back side, you'll see I don't have January finished, and even part of February I should be able to plug in there now, but the financial accounts will come out later. So it just shows everything that's gone in. The local checking account Deb keeps to be able to pay the monthly mortgage payment is in the middle column, and the principal still owed is on that right column. And so last year, like I said, by December 31st, we had reduced the principal after the mortgage was opened by $5,000. And again, you can add that $24,000 the congregation chipped in before we opened the mortgage. The interest was $1,000. We hate to see anything going into interest, it's unavoidable, but how wonderful that principal was so much higher than the interest that went out. And January is starting strong as well. Now, I don't think we're going to find any more accounts that can be closed, so we're going to have to try to keep the giving. It's going to help immensely when that house is rented. And maybe this will come up next week about where we are with getting the house rented. It's not part of our budget talk, but that will help immensely to drive down the principal even better.
Another thing on, excuse me, on Immanuel Forward, we have to give thanks to Harry Hanert, Randy Stanfield, and Jim Trailer. I'm sorry, it's going around here. The labor costs for what they have done would really raise the price. They have done a wonderful job. And Randy was just in there the other day doing some fine tuning, and they're doing it on their own. They are wonderful people. Thank you.
And George for painting, George's crew.
I'm sorry, George.
How does the government handle income from a rental property generated to a tax-exempt business such as the church?
I'm not the government, but from what I've been hearing, we will pay income tax on that. That'll be something new for us. Yes, we are paying taxes on that property. As many expenses as we can build into the rent, we will.
While it's being rented only.
Yes.
If we choose to use it as a pastoral house or anything other than rental, we do not. That was all verified in the process of buying the house. So, property tax will be paid and income tax will be paid on the income of the church while it's being rented only. If we turn to use the church or use the house for anything other than that, then we don't pay property tax or sales or income tax on that.
Okay, sorry if I got us way off the budget. The next few pages, the mission, women's account, Malawi account, quilters account, are self-explanatory, and you should talk to people in charge of those accounts if you have questions. Pages 17, 18 explain what the different codings are, and then we come to the proposed budget. Everything plugged into income from line 4,000 to line 4375 are guesstimates. We know what we think we know what the expenses may be, which will show up on the last page. Well, it just shows up here too. We think the expenses are going to come up to $418,294.32. And so we're saying income should be at that same amount. Probably it won't be, but that's how we develop a balanced budget in our, dare I say, amateur way. Okay. Starting with expenses at the bottom of 19, utilities, both this electricity showing here and on the other page, the next page is the heating for gas, and wildly different from year to year. We have no way to predict what that will be. It may be a little higher this year. Although right now, snow plowing has kind of evened off, hasn't it? I don't know what else to point out in this regard, in that I don't think it's been a lot of change over last year. Is anybody on the team? Was there anything else we should point out in this regard? Did any of you write down questions on the margins of this? Here we go.
Okay, so on page 19, let's see, item 4325, where it says hall rental income. So the budget for this year was $2,000, the actual paid was $120, and the projected is $500. So a couple of questions. What is considered hall rental? Is that rental of the whole property, rental of the sanctuary? And then what goes into that? You know, when you have weddings, funerals, baptisms, reunions, whatever.
I'm going to happily pass this to somebody who knows, and I think I know where this is going as well. Okay, Shar.
Only because nobody else has taken this, so take that with a grain. So Debbie Carlson and I put together what's called a facility use policy. And in that, we plugged in some things, but I don't know history, but it seems to me that if you have if you're renting the hall for a wedding or for something, that you've got certain areas, it's going to be $100. If you're going to use this area, it's going to be a certain amount if you're going to use this area. I don't think it's very widely used. Do you? The most common one is tops. Tops. And that they're a donation sort of a thing. Yeah. So we do have some light uses that historically have used us that aren't used as a strict policy. It's going to cost you this much. They donate. Randy's got something.
Nick, do funerals and... No. Not for the electronic system. You can't reach Florida.
On this subject of hall rental, I notice on Mondays we have a homeschool academy that comes here. Are they paying to rent the church or rent the property?
Do you know? This is going to come up next week, too. Do you know?
If they donate for using the building, it will go under hall rental. I mean, that's where we put tops and things like that too, so that's.
So we can look back to that line, see what it came in?
Yeah, you should be able to. I mean, like when they do that supper, the harvest supper, whenever they've donated for using our kitchen and stuff, that's where that money goes into too, is the hall rental one.
I don't see it showing up in Okay, I tried to find 4345 in the report of last year's. Okay, 4325, there it is. 120 came in.
Sorry about that. If the line item 4325 shows an income for January to December of 2025 of only $120, and that's a combination of TOPS and the school that we talked about, that's pretty sparse. I think that my suggestion would be that we set a minimum rather than rely on their goodwill and their donations.
And I think the policy that Debbie and Char worked on this year, I think does that.
That would be wonderful then.
That's why we did it.
Okay, I think that's appropriate. Thank you.
Just one smaller thing. And I'm not telling anybody how to do their job, but having been involved in other, like the youth center, and people would come to ask for rental and whatever, and that market has changed a lot because there isn't a lot of space. And so, I mean, I realize we're not always desperate for revenue, but there may come a point where it'd be nice to have a little bit more revenue. And so I think to study what the competition is in the local market for space rental might be helpful as a guide as well.
Okay, any more on income or expenses in the proposed budget?
Yeah, just so I kind of try and look at a bigger picture and not pick on the little details, because in the grand scheme of things, some details projected on expenses or income is strictly a guess, and some positives offset the negatives. So looking at the big picture, as you look at total income on page 19, this year we had a total of $379,000. The budget, and this is a force number for next year, is $418,000. So the budget says we need to increase our income sources by $39,000, or about 10% greater than what we actually took in this year. Now, what the expenses actually are, what the income is on some of these areas, we don't know. As you said, you don't know what the weather's like or anything in that regard. So it is a big increase. And it was already mentioned, one of the big increases is the $24,000 that's being budgeted for the music coordinator, or whatever it's called. So that's almost over half of the total increase. What actually the position ends up being filled and what the cost of that, I think, is still kind of up in the air. But the big area is that extra position that is proposed to be added. Now, that's a big increase. But when you look at the balance sheet on the first page, we have in the general account at the bank here $85,000, roughly. I don't take my word for it. It's close to that. And so we have a fair reserve. That's up that $18,000 from what it was last year, because last year income exceeded expenses by $18,000. So there's a little cushion there that will help. If you figure 1 month's expenses is somewhere in the $35,000 area, we got at least a month's cushion of expenses there available. And then we also, at Fidelity, we have roughly $90,000 plus in the general account that is earning us much higher interest there. But that's also available if we need to dip into that in the coming year. Having said that, we need to recognize that this is a big increase, and with what has happened with our giving this year, past year, it's hard to imagine that we can make up that difference that we need to that $40,000 in next year's income, but we do have reserves that will cover us. Now, you can't live on reserves forever. So if that continues for the following year and the following year, soon there's no more reserves. So for the coming year, we will be able to handle this budget without, going bankrupt. But it's discerning, and especially when you look at the giving pattern that we've had, and you look at the membership, as you look at the number of people attending church and that sort of thing, and this isn't just our church, it's a secular thing. Church membership is dropping nationally, and so to expect a big increase in giving is probably not realistic, but we do have the reserves to handle this, is my point.
And having said all that, we are proposing a smaller budget than last year. Bottom line.
Say just one more thing. I think one of the benefits we've had is that large volunteer base. Yes. And people's ability to work longer hours. As somebody who lives right across the street from the church, I mean, I see people coming here before 7 in the morning and leaving 5:30, 6 o'clock at night. So I think the other thing that we have to be prepared for is burnout of employees and what kind of transition would be required to replace them. And the other is volunteers. Most of people in this congregation are volunteering. And you know what I say when your phone rings off the hook. I mean, because there's a shortage of volunteers across the whole community, probably across the nation. And so to expect the same level of volunteers or the base that we can select from may be optimistic thinking as well.
Yeah, when I hear people are leaving during transition, we're moving too slow, things aren't going well, I think that's the time to step up. I mean, we're a family. We need to hold the family together. We all need to step up and do our part. Again, like you said, we're preaching to the choir in this group. No, we're not in dire straits. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling positive, looking at these numbers every month. How about you? Any other comments? Okay, next week you will be asked to approve the budget for next year. Okay?